Hello again. I'm starting this a bit later than usually, and I'm going to end it a bit later than usually because I had some technical difficulties with Switch and the connection to my PC. For some reason, it didn't want to give me any audio, so I turned my computer on and off again. I turned turned my switch on and off again. I turned the OBS on and off again a few times. And finally, after a few times of turning OBS on and off again, it worked. uh, yeah. let's get to the game. So we are going to continue this vampire game. We have just had our first night as a vampire, I guess, and we survived. The other vampires were going to execute us, but then fortunately there was one vampire who wanted to take us under their wing. Us, me. So see, that vampire was maybe it's the one in the picture. I guess that's Sophia. What was her name? Not quite sure. Also, I set myself in here in the right side of the screen and, and not at the bottom because last time it was difficult to see what options I had because I was in the way. Now I shouldn't be that much in the way, I hope. Hi, the doodle. You came again. Yeah, it is story time. And we were we were going to wake up, maybe, after we slept, perhaps. We'll see. I had to switch the position. Like last time, it was difficult to see what was written on the options box, like right under there. So now I hope I'm not in the way. Eh, A few minutes later, your consciousness fades and you take the plunge into darkness again, sinking, 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 sinking. What is this? Is that the rest button? I guess it is. Hunger is at the heart of a vampire's existence. To ignore it is to tempt the beast to take over in its desire to feed. To overindulge in feeding may threaten the masquerade, while staining what humanity you have left. I guess so. In Coteries of New York, having high hunger is indicated by progressively thicker bloody frame around the screen, like the one you see now. Oh no, I'm getting hungry, I guess. As your hunger grows, so does this indicator. Your hunger may increase when you call upon your vampiric powers, or when you need to mend your wounds after a fight. But I haven't called upon my powers. And I did drink some blood, didn't I? When your hunger reaches the maximum level, you will receive a warning after you complete a piece of the story. Ignore it at your own peril. Some choices might only become visible if your hunger is high enough. Similarly, high hunger may block off some choices, as you will be able to see after pressing continue. Blocked option. Hmm. To decrease your hunger, you will need to feed. Whenever you see a feeding opportunity, you can take the risk to hunt and slake your hunger. I have to. I'm so hungry. Feeding opportunity. Hmm. You will need to keep the hunger at bay if you are to uphold the masquerade and survive the nights that await you. There went the day. You open your eyes. The bed isn't warm. Oh no, I'm so cold. The room is filled with artificial light from the ceiling. The solia? Solid. Must be solid. Solid metal door is closed. Yeah, it's a wild wild time to be alive. Normally you'd stretch for a bit. On some mornings you'd probably throw the guilt over yourself and snooze a moment longer. But that was before. The way you woke up now, you are fully conscious. No grogginess, nothing weighing you down, just the nagging need in the back of your head. It would be so nice to wake up like that, I guess. Except that hunger. Hunger not as severe as the last time, but unmistakably there. You get up and open the door to the main room. A digital clock on the TV shows you the time. 9:04 p.m. You walk over to the blinds and retract them cautiously. The only light coming in is New York City's artificial nighttime luminescence. So that's what your waking hours are going to look like now. You miss the sunlight already. Americans. You're seriously considering just walking out of the apartment and figuring this all out by yourself, but then you come back to the memory of Cuddy's exotic sword being raised in the gallery. Oh yeah, Kadir was going to cut my head off or something with that sword. Maybe sticking around isn't that bad of an idea after all. Yep. You keep jumping at channels for around half an hour and then switch to streaming services. Ha! Streaming services. Almost as if the universe had a sense of irony. You catch the true blood in the flood of recommendations. Oh, I watched True Blood actually last fall when I was sick so much I couldn't do much anything else. So at least I know what it's about. The doorbell rings. It's Sophie. Ah, the name was Sophie. How did I speak like Sophie again? Good evening, Solar. Solar, you slept well. It's not really like normal sleep, is it? I suppose it isn't. Some say it's more like being dead, but we wouldn't know, would we? It's no use reflecting on it anyway. Accept that this is who you are now. You made the right choice yesterday. I can teach you many things about yourself, your blood, its desires and its power. We will begin tonight. You are hungry, yes? I'm sure you are. Our kind always is. There is only one remedy, the blood. The drinks we had yesterday at Elysium. are not the usual way you slake your thirst. So, tonight I will assist you in your first foray into hunting. You need to learn to sense the kind of blood you desire, to understand how you can use the kind's vulnerabilities to your advantage. Mm, Well, I'm ready to learn. Let's get started. Such eagerness. Or is it just your hunger making you impatient? You will find that drinking moderate amounts of it regularly will keep the hunger and the whispers of the beast away. You might think yourself monstrous, but there is a balance to be found here. The gives the kind kiss gives the kind pleasure. You might remember this from your own embrace. Some can even become addicted to the sensation, but if you do it right, they tend to misremember your feeling. After all, vampires do not exist. They are myths, fairy tales, and pop culture mainstays, correct? Mmm, bowl of blood soup. Yummy. She gives you a sly, knowing smile. That is why the masquerade is so important, and even more crucial when you feed. Biting people leaves marks, right? And the victims remember your face. You shouldn't concern yourself with leaving marks. These are easy to conceal. You just need to bite carefully and then lick the punctures closely. That's all there is to it. The cookies. Oh yeah, I I managed to feed them to the co-workers the next day. They were still fine and nobody got sick. As for being remembered, like I mentioned, the kiss is an ecstatic experience, so Kine can barely recall the details. Maybe. Well, I also ate some of them, so and I didn't get sick, so I hope not many of them got sick either. And even when they do, this city is enormous. You could spend days on the streets and not see the same face twice. Use that to your advantage. Feeding from the same area repeatedly can be dangerous, but by branching out you risk the ire of other kindred on those domains you trespass. Lucky for you, New York City is more forgiving in this regard. New York is somewhat of a unique position. Many of its neighborhoods remain contested or unclaimed. The reason for this is a lesson for another time, but keep the following in mind. Take opportunities to feed when they present themselves these upcoming nights. As long as you hunt cautiously and respect the masquerade at all times, you should be fine. To wit, I want you to join me for a trip tonight. Come downstairs. Gregory is waiting for us. The busy street fills the air with traffic noise, pedestrian chatter, and a mix of smells that disorient you momentarily. These warm bodies contain what you want, what you need. It, it's delicious blood. You catch yourself. Did you really just think of these people as mere sources of blood? Did I? It takes a nudge from Sophie to break your train of thought. Her driver opens the door for her and then tips his hat to you, gesturing to the back of the car. The car casually joins somewhat thin New York traffic. It's still busy in a way only one of the biggest cities in the world can be, but compared to the daytime commute, it's a pleasant drive. You barely have the time to gather your thoughts and formulate new questions before the car comes to a stop. I wonder where we are going. You're among the tall skyscrapers that make up Manhattan's iconic skyline. You feel a pang of emotion as you realize this is where you took part in the exhibition just 2 nights prior. Same address, and you suspect same hall. To what ends has it been repurposed tonight? Oh no, I hope my sister isn't here. So lucky. Park the car, Gregory, will you? The driver just nods and Sophie gets out. You join her, and the two of you walk through the glass doors together, then take the elevator up. You first notice an empty stage with the instruments of a string quartet still in the back, then take in the few dozen chairs in front of it. Who's going to play? The concert seeming concluded, the patrons, all smartly dressed and posh, have spread out all over the hall. Sophie strides confidently inside, produces an invitation from her purse that she flashes in front of a security guard. You follow close and are let through without issue. Let's start easy. A social setting like this one would usually prove quite challenging to an inexperienced kindred, but consider this evening a small gift from your patron. I guess I'm still wearing the same clothes I were wearing 2 nights ago. I'm hoping to procure for you a willing vessel. Just remember what I told you about taking small sips. This one I have a soft spot for. Don't damage her. Now let's see here. Ah, there he is. Yeah, it's kinda disgusting, but there has not been any descriptions of me getting a shower or a change of clothes or anything, I think. She notices somebody in the crowd, flashes a heart melting smile, and suddenly even you feel drawn to her. You haven't thought about it before, but it's laid clear before you in this moment. Sophie is beautiful. Just looking at her is a privilege. Just being with her makes you feel elated. Everybody in the crowd, but especially the man who's almost tripping over himself to reach her, clearly agrees. Edgar, I'm so happy to see you. How is your daughter? Is she with you? Oh, there she is. Julie, my girl, come over, please. There is somebody I'd like you to meet. The young woman who walks across the hall can't be more than 19 years old. It's clear from her mismatched earrings and the partially faded purple hair dye that she doesn't fit this crowd. Julie, this is so lucky. I think the two of you should get acquainted while I talk business with your dad. Awfully boring stuff, I assure you. I'm positive you'll like each other. The girl gives you a shy smile and nods towards the balcony stairs. You follow, somewhat unsure what it is exactly Sophie expects you to do. You reach a secluded space from which the entire lobby is visible. All eyes are on Sophie. They listen intently, then laugh when she does. Julie saves you the trouble of figuring out the next step. You will- Ah, I had to drink some drink some hot chocolate. Yeah, that didn't work out. If you're with Sophie, then I guess you're I mean that you know. She puts her wrist to her lips and gives herself a theatrical nip, then looks to you, embarrassed, but also hopeful. Yes, yes, I do. She takes off her jacket, unbuttons her sleeve, then rolls it up. You see a tattoo of a cat in an astronaut suit, one feline eye winking at you. The skinny white hobo. Thanks. There, just enjoy. I hope I hope she won't speak much. A perfectly awkward smile and a blush. Let's have a sip. You take her forearm in your hands. A quick look around confirms nobody's watching, and no security cameras cover this area. You bite down gently. It's surreal. She just she's just given you her blood of her own volition. How is this possible? What about the masquerade? You need to ask Sophie. Your thoughts disappear amid the bliss. There's just the taste. Sweet, fresh, sanguine. You drink and drink and drink. No, stop, stop, stop! You tear away from the girls harder than you wanted. Still, the bite leaves just tiny punctures. Almost as if by instinct, you lick them clean, and the two holes become concealed, just like that. Julie is now leaning on the wall, pale, wobbly on her feet, but happy? She lets out a dreamy sigh, opens her eyes. A few tears fall onto her shirt. Tears of joy. What a sicko. Thank you! Thank you! Please, can you walk me downstairs? Please! My dad, he doesn't know. Thinks it's a condition. Miss Langley told him so. Oh, please don't talk, Julie. I don't want. She leans on you and requests you walk her over to a bench. She takes a seat and smiles at you. The crowd around Sophie disperses slowly. Looking at her now, only some residual awe hangs in the air. Yes, she's pretty, maybe even beautiful, sure, but not your type. What came over you before? Yeah, I did. I chose the worst voice. You walk over to her. Edgar, dear, it was splendid talking to you. But we need to get going. Give Julie my best wishes. Come with, Solari. Gregory is waiting for you out front. It's only in the car that Sophie addresses you. I can tell you from your look that you took the opportunity. Good for you. That girl is exquisite, don't you think? You wouldn't tell by her demeanor, but she has so much passion. It brings out the unique bouquet in her blood. Mm, I think she knows who we are. That's not normal, right? It's not usual. That much is true. But don't worry. She will do anything I tell her to, and won't say anything to anyone that I haven't put in her pretty head first. Time for the next stop. Training wheels off this time. Gregory, Flushing Meadows, please. The driver takes the car over the Williamsburg Bridge. You settle your thoughts. Which question should I ask? Those people back at the hall, they were all entranced. Even I was under a spell. What was that? She smiles with satisfaction. That old trick. Just the blood doing my bidding. We all have our talents. Some of them come from the legacy we inherit from our sire. Others can be learned with experience. I can sway people or make them fear me. I see more of the world and in greater detail than some kindred. I can will my body to move with unparalleled precision and grace, and more. All of these skills make me who I am. They also help me hunt. How exactly do I use these talents? You will the blood to do your bidding. Many times you'll find you do these things intuitively, almost passively, but making an entire room focus their attention on you, that is tempting the beast. Always keep the masquerade in mind, however. It is all fine if you can disappear in plain sight or command animals with your mind, but save those overt talents for the right place and time. It only takes you half an hour to reach the park at this time of night. Both you and Sophie leave the car, with Gregory left behind again, to find a parking spot and keep an eye on the car. Sophie seems deep in thought. She takes in the surroundings with a dreamy gaze. The sky is surprisingly clear tonight, the stars just barely visible in the light polluted aura of the city. I feel like having a snack myself. I'll be by the fountain. Go look for somebody to your liking. See what effects you can achieve with your blood. But only pick one victory. Just one. Then come back. Seeing how she seems not altogether here right now, you decide to leave Sophie to her own devices and seek out your prey. From here, it looks like you have a few choices. Just taking a stroll around the park and finding an isolated jogger or someone like them could work, but focusing on one area might work better. The New York State Pavilion might work as a secluded spot. There's a skate park nearby, and worst case scenario, there's bound to be some unfortunate Vino around. Or maybe tennis courts nearby. There's a light coming from there, so somebody might be still playing a late night match. They won't be alone, but they might be tired and let their guard down. As these scenarios play out in your mind, you realize you're planning how to assault a stranger in the middle of the night. It's a weird way to be, but the now familiar hunger prompts you to act. Hmm, let's go to the pavilion. You make your way to one of the park's most well-known landmarks, the round skeleton of the New York State Pavilion, with its two vaguely futuristic-looking towers. You don't get lucky with the skate park. It's not deserted. Instead, a group of skaters is gathered there, talking loudly and listening to music playing out of crackling smartphone speakers. Sounds horrible. Deciding to have a quick look around, you identify a potential victim, a sleeping back lady, leaned back on a bench, a shopping cart full of what looks like trash nearby. Even thinking of that second option makes you feel sick. You decide to take your chances with the skaters, not even getting close to the homeless woman. Why not? You think back to what Sophie did in the hall, how she managed to focus the attention of the entire gathering on her. That might be a tall order for you, but a single person could be doable. You singled out a guy who's talking on his phone away from the gathering. He's having a heated discussion with somebody, a relative, partner. It's not going well. This talk's over. I said shut the fuck up. Hey, you're hearing me. Shut up. Call me when you get some fucking sense into your stupid brain, okay? He ends the call abruptly and almost throws the phone on the ground in frustration. Rough night? He's got an angry expression on his face and tears welling in his eyes, but he gives you a curious look and even a bit of a shy smile. Yeah, you could say that. What's up? I got something that will put a smile on your face. That sounds like I'm dealing drugs. He takes a few steps forward, away from his buddies, who remain totally oblivious to what's happening. But you see your influence fading. You take your chance and lunge. Your fangs sink into his exposed shoulder. He shivers and lets out a moan. His phone hits the pavement and you hear the case and crack. Oops. His blood tastes like a clash of hot emotion and melancholy laced with some artificial stimulant you can't quite place. An energy drink? A recreational drug? It's a strange mix. You hardly have the chance to savor it, as the proximity of the skater's friends makes you feel vulnerable. You hastily finish drinking and drag the guy over to the pavilion. When you turn around, you realize you are not alone. Oh no. A hooded man is looking menacingly at you. Oh no. What do you think you're doing, barging in on my turf like this, lick? I didn't mean to trespass, sorry. I'm going. Too late for that, Fredo. You want to live here in one piece. You talk candidly. I know what you are, so you can shove that masquerade misdirection up your ass. Now, better tell me who you're with, before my boss shows up and we beat it out of you. I came here with Sophie Langley. She's my patron. Doesn't ring a bell. Sounds fancy though. He licks his lips, exposing his fangs and looking at you voraciously. A nervous tick or an attempt at intimidation? I wonder what would Callahan do to you if I brought you in, huh? Break your shins, leave you out to be kissed by the sun? Ooh, concrete shoes maybe. He's old school like that. Let's run away. You take off fast, faster than you've ever run. The hoodlum has trouble keeping up, but howls behind you like an animal and gives chase anyway. As you reach the Unisphere again, you slow down, noticing two people near the sculpture, a man and a woman tangled in a passionate embrace. No, not exactly. It's Sophie feeding, but this whole scene is set up so that it looks like a couple getting intimate in public. She pulls it off, like she's done it 100 times before. It occurs to you that she probably has. Yes. The man is unsure on his feet as she lets go of him and leads him towards a nearby bench. Noticing you, she whispers something into his ear and leaves him. Her driver appears from behind a tree. The driver was just watching. Well, Solakil, how did it go? You're about to answer when the same figure as before emerges from one of the alleys. He looks at the three of you, and a predatory smile creeps onto his lips.
You thought you could run away from me, Lick. Think you'll be safe with your friends. Well, I have friends too.
He makes a motion to shout, but two things happen almost at the same time. First, that feeling of warmth and beauty emanating from Sophie flares up again, entrancing both you and the hooded thug. His shout comes out as a weak, confused squeak. Second, Gregory produces a wooden stake from a holster under his jacket and slams it into the thug's chest. Oh my, Gregory is so cool. Just like that, in a few seconds, the posturing vampire is down on the ground, paralyzed. I see you made a friend, Solakil. Curious choice of company, I would say. Who is he? He said something about presenting me to somebody named Callahan. Ever heard of him? She looks shocked for a split second, then recovers her regular countenance. Yes, I have. This hoodlum is Anna, then. Curious. Corona Park has not been claimed by any kindred last I checked. Let's go to the car. We'll put him in the trunk and present him to Kadir tomorrow night. I'm sure he'll be delighted to make this unbound's acquaintance. Gregory carries the staked vampire and dumps him in the car's trunk like a mannequin. It's a strange sight, and you're quite happy you're not in that poor fucker's shoes right now. It's almost surprising that you can get away with just casually throwing a stiff into your car and driving away. But then you remember that Sophie has been doing this far longer than you have. Just a normal night for Sophie, I guess. Still, the nagging thought that anything you did tonight could have been recorded on a CCTV camera or picked up by a rando with a half-decent smartphone and streamed online fills you with dread. Hunting and using your abilities is a dangerous business. It's clear that this whole being a vampire thing has about as many caveats as it has perks. I'm drinking hot chocolate this time. It's getting late, so no tea anymore for me. Or maybe it's blood that I'm drinking. Yeah, good hot chocolate is good. This one is made with oat milk. I guess I most of the time I have oat milk since I don't drink that much hot chocolate and milk regular milk spoils so easily. like made with hurry. You're taken out of your headspace by Sophie's voice. I will pick you up tomorrow night, same as tonight. I have some business to attend to at Elysium, and I expect you to accompany me. Oh no, those murderous vampires. But maybe we'll have this hoodlum killed. Oh, it's just about 8 p.m. Plus, our friend in the back needs to be properly introduced to Kadir and the prince. I'm sure he'll have something interesting things to say to the court. Her voice is cold, cruel, and nothing like the enchanting personality she showed at the gallery earlier tonight. Sophie is clearly a woman of many faces. Yeah, I'm about an hour before you, I guess. Yeah. Mhm. Mm. What's going to happen to him? I guess he's going to be executed and questioned. My hot chocolate is getting cold. It's not so hot anymore, but it's still good. The usual, I imagine. Interrogation by Kadir, probably in the basement of the gallery. A quick trial with the prince in attendance if she's there tomorrow night. A swift execution as the verdict. This all sounds eerily familiar to you, and you can't help but feel a pang of guilt when you think about what awaits this guy tomorrow night. But he wanted to put me in concrete shoes. You haven't told me how your hunting went. Getting the hang of it, I would hope. I think I am, yeah, I'll go. I'm glad. She doesn't question you further. She seems distracted, not all there. Her thoughts drift and the car remains silent until you reach your apartment. We will pick you up tomorrow evening. Good night. Just like that, without any further courtesy, Sophie leaves, driven to her apartment by Gregory, with a body in the trunk, right in the middle of Manhattan. Did you cross paths with situations like these in the past, unknowingly? What other secrets did you pass on the streets without knowing their true nature? Your heaven is just as you left it hours ago. Although the sun won't come up for some time, you feel tired. You learned something about yourself today, and it'll take time to process. You're not in the mood for television, and the few books on the shelves in the apartment are either in languages you don't speak or sound like a boring read. Nothing left to do but rest. You settle in the back room, lock the door, a moment of hesitation, but then a decision. This time, you turn the lights off. You think back to Julie. How many people in this city know about this vampiric society? How many are willing accomplices in sustaining it? And the thug you met in the park. If he's not Camarilla, then what is he? Are they independent vampires? How does that work? I guess Julie was. Yeah, she had a horrible voice. More questions. You begin wondering if there's ever going to be a night when you can start crossing them off the list instead of adding to it. You close your eyes. You sink into the now familiar void of nothingness. It greets you with open arms like an old friend. So it's resting time again. I open my eyes. It's pitch dark here, the blackness of a coffin drifting in the abyss. Oh, right, the light. You grasp for the switch, flip it. The familiar cramped room with a steel door and no windows comes into view. You emerge from the bedroom fully awake, just like yesterday. This time, however, Sophie is waiting for you, comfortably seated on the sofa in your living room space, a book in her hand. The Melancholy of Resistance, the title, the title sure on brand. Good evening, Solakium. Good evening, Sophie. I hope you rested well. Tonight will be quite eventful, I think. Come, we have an appointment. I received word Elysium would be called again tonight on account of your unruly friend from Corona Park. This should be a great opportunity for you to mingle. But, like, how did she wake up before me? Does she not need as much sleep? She keeps talking as you walk downstairs and get in the car. Gregory gives you a slight nod and a small smile while opening the door for Sophie. He starts the car when you take your seat in the back. Most of the Primogen Council is bound to be there. At least those who usually attend. Probably some other important personalities you'd do well to at least learn about. Hmm. You never told me if there's any vivre, savoir vivre kind of rules I should respect when talking to other vampires. It's hard to roleplay something like saying something like that because I have no idea how to pronounce that. It's French based, I guess, and I don't know any French. Knowing that you're among your superiors is probably the most important. In our society, status comes with age. Pardon my sincerity, but you are insignificant. Not even associating with me can make the fact that you've been kindred for barely a few nights be forgotten. So know your place. Stay out of your superior's business and show the utmost respect. Thanking the prince for sparing you and maybe having a friendly chat with Kadi publicly might show your gratefulness for being a part of the Camarilla for now. I would suggest you make it sincere. At any rate, you should behave yourself tonight. Remember what I told you about reflecting on me as your patron? I have a reputation to uphold in the court, not tarnish it. There it is. She might have saved you. She might be protecting and teaching you. but it's clear that she is really concerned about her own interests. I wonder what she wants to do with me. You step into the art hall with something of a bad memory. Last time you were here, your entire world had been turned upside down and your existence nearly ended. But tonight, there's very little outward hostility. Yes, Buddy gives you a look that's definitely intended to remind you of your place, but the prince, also in attendance, seems pleased to see you.
Mm. Welcome, Sophie. So lucky. Did I get that right? Good evening to you both. I understand there is somebody else you wish to present to the court tonight.
Yes, prince. They will be joining us shortly. My assistant is retrieving them presently. I bet the assistant is Gregory. This better be worth the prince's time, Langley. The prince gives Kadir a cold glance.
Forgive the serious harshness. He's in a particularly foul mood tonight. Something to do with Solakium's big brother eluding his grasp, I believe.
Ouch. That must have hurt his ego, even if his only reply is a crooked smile. The mention of your sire makes you feel a bang of emotion again. Whoever he was, he left a lasting impression, one reinforced with your visit to the show space last night. That's the past. Right now, though, you're back in the gallery and are reminded of your sister instead. Emma frequents this place. Is she aware of these clandestine meetings after dark? I wonder. The flaring up of whispers in the gallery hall breaks you out of your thoughts. Gregory enters the room, the jumpsuit-clad inert vampire still staked on his shoulder. The show is about to start. Sophie's driver places his charge in the middle of the room and nods respectfully to Kadir. The sheriff approaches the vampire and removes the stake from his chest. The captive's eyes flicker to life, and he starts looking around in disbelief. Like a cornered animal, he backs out on all fours, keeps going in circles until he realizes he's trapped. Kadir steps on the man's chest and pins him to the floor. What? Who do we have here?
Oh, fuck. Oh, no, no. Come on, don't.
Silence. The sheriff takes on an aura of utter dread. He appears as if he's a primal force of nature that's out to get you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do but shrivel in terror. The beast inside you shrieks, and you could swear it happens in unison with the instincts of some of the other guests here. It's unlike anything you've experienced in his company during your turbulent first night as a vampire. He really did go easy on you, all things considered. Nice. It seems like it takes all of the hoodlum's willpower to not crawl into a fetal position and start crying.
No, please. Don't hurt me, man. Don't.
You and me are going to have a little talk downstairs at the prince's discretion.
Please go ahead, my sheriff.
You heard the prince. Get up. Let's go. He doesn't wait for a confirmation. He just grabs the man and drags him, kicking and screaming, out of the room. Conversations start all around you, some whisper, some quite overt. Sophie looks somewhat bored of the whole affair, her eyes wandering from art piece to art piece, clearly finding nothing to her particular liking. Of course not. My banana peel isn't here. It was bought by that sire of mine. And that seems like a stupid question. Of course he'll manage. For her culture you have seen, torturing somebody in an art gallery doesn't seem to face you. Oh please, do keep your naivety to yourself. Power and violence have always been two sides of the same coin. Most of us here are far too old to bother with keeping up appearances. Excuse me. Sophie leaves your side and goes to a corner of the gallery where a group of kindred, some seemingly pretty old-fashioned, gather. A concierge offers you a drink, still warm. It smells nice. I think my hot chocolate is probably about the same warmth as that drink right now. Just a sip to start you off, a splash over your palate, coating your tongue and the inside of your cheeks. Nourishment. You're left to your own devices. You have a quick look around. The prince is currently talking to a dark-skinned woman that you recall seeing here those few nights ago. She has a cold but noble countenance to her. Their conversation seems to be casual. A loud shrill laugh turns your attention to the bespectacled man who you saw with Sophie on the night of your judgment. He's making the rounds, chatting up different patrons. You feel somebody's eyes on you. A casually dressed, plain-looking man stands alone near a column, watching you. He turns his gaze away sheepishly when he realizes you've noticed. Why is he watching me? Maybe I want to say thank you to the prince. You approach the prince, trying to stay as respectful of her private conversation as possible. She glances at you as you step forward, her scrutinizing gaze mimicked by her companion. She addresses the dark-skinned woman before turning to you. Excuse me for just a moment, Samira. Yes, Solar. What is it? I wish to thank you for sparing me, Prince. I realize it wasn't an easy decision to make, and I wanted to express my sincere appreciation. How thoughtful of you. She takes a long look at you before she continues. I didn't do it from the kindness of my unbeating heart. You are an asset to Miss Langley, to the Camarilla, and to me. I believe I made the right decision. Prove to me and the other kindred of this city that it was so, and there might be more to your future nights than just survival and servitude. The dark-skinned woman looks impatiently at you and catches the prince's attention. Forgive me. That's all the time I can spare right now. We have some things to discuss with Samira still. Enjoy your night, Solaki. And the same to you, Prince Bonhart. Prince nods and turns back to the other woman to continue their conversation. You noticed Sophie mingling with other kindred, clearly in her element, and not be disturbed. Her dear hasn't come back yet, so you can probably still find time for at least one conversation. Which one? The glasses guy seems well connected, but I guess the man who was looking for me seems odd. I wonder why he was looking at me. But I guess I need to try to make friends. And the
stalker guy didn't seem like friendly type. Or maybe he is. Who knows? Maybe I'll try to speak with the glasses guy. He must know everything. The man notices your attention, but it takes a few minutes before he pauses his mingling for long enough to actually approach you. He looks at you quizzically. What an interesting fellow.
Thomas Arturo.
Is that your name?
I assumed you'd like to know. I know you. By name only, of course. Solakium. Embraced just a few nights ago, huh? Well. How's Undeath treating you?
You know, I think I'm beginning to like it. At least I'm not suicidal anymore. Oh, already? Fast learner, are you? Good. Good attitude to have. It'll take you places. He takes a moment to clean his glasses, completely ignoring you, until he's done and puts them back on.
I'm sorry, I got a bit distracted. You know most of us don't need to wear these, right? I can see just fine without them, but it's a statement.
The damn things keep catching specks of dust and other assorted shit though. Never stay clean for long.
Don't I know it? Sometimes I think they're more trouble than they're worth. Wouldn't you say?
They look good on you, really.
You bet they do. Alright, that was a nice chat, but I have to catch up with a few other fellows tonight. Talk to you later. Ginny, hey, Ginny!
He doesn't even give you a chance to say goodbye. He's already off, grabbing 2 glasses of a concierge's tray and handing one to a mustachioed man nearby. A loud exchange near the staircase grabs everybody's attention. Kadir is back, and the hoodlum is with him. The sheriff pushes his unfortunate victim inside the room. The vampire that threatened you last time is a mess. That stupid hat is still inexplicably on his head, covering some of his ruined face in welcome shadow. He's barely conscious. His chin is broken, you think. Something protruding there, making it front leg bulge. One arm seems twisted at a strange angle. Very little blood, surprisingly, but clearly a whole lot of hurt. Well, adieu. Did our guest cooperate?
Tell the prince your name. It's Howard. And who do you run with, Howard? The Midnighters. An honor coterie like this. Active for some time now. Though from what this one told me, the name is about the only legacy the group has kept over the years. I see. Hey Prince, I didn't mean it. I didn't know I didn't.
A loud crack makes some of the guests audibly grasp as Kadir's slap dislocates the man's jaw. A spray of blood creates something like an abstract art piece on the floor.
This one is guilty of threatening a member of the Camarilla and claiming a domain without the prince's approval. That alone would be enough to pass swift judgment, but he is also unarmed. Scum. My prince.
There can be only one verdict. Another. Do your duty, sheriff. Unless, of course, somebody would like to play at being a good Samaritan like our dear Miss Langley a few nights ago.
The look the prince serves you and Sophie is a cruel jest.
Sophie takes it gracefully, smiling and slipping her arm under yours in a strange public show of affection. Nobody says anything. The vampire named Howard jumps to his feet and makes for the window. Should I do anything? I will get hungry if I accelerate. I'm sure he can't escape. You have a feeling Howard's efforts are fruitless. Just a few seconds later, that feeling is confirmed. He almost reaches the window. Almost, but not quite. In what seems like a blink of an eye, Paddy appears first near his tabarded sword in one corner of the gallery, and then next to the escaping Anna on the opposite side of the room. The next moment, Howard's head flies off of his body, baseball cap free. No more hats for him. His lifeless body crumbles to the ground and begins to decompose in real time. It's an uncanny sight.
As always, our service does not fail to impress. I would like to thank Miss Langley for bringing this Anna thought to my and Paddy's attention. I assume all have found the verdict satisfactory.
It's a rhetorical question, and everybody here knows it.
Then I consider tonight's meeting concluded. Good night to all of you.
She steps out of the room, and you see that many of the guests move to do the same. Sophie seems to be conversing with somebody, a serious-looking man in a trench coat, about what transpired. You probably have the time to strike up a conversation of your own too. Paddy Al-Asmai is still here, for one, but clearly getting ready to leave. Arturo is still here, chatting with the remaining attendants. For a moment you think the man who was looking at you earlier left, but he's still here, keeping to himself in a secluded corner. I need to talk to Paddy. The sheriff's mood seems to have improved, so you decide you want to get a better shot at saying your piece. He's just sheathing his sword as you approach him. He notices you just before his face turns from a melancholic frown back to his regular predatory smile. You seem to have caught him in a moment of reflection.
What is it, Solakium?
Hey, are you okay? Did I catch you at a bad time? His smirk is gone. His lips are tight now. His face a mask of professionalism and restraint. I have no idea what you are talking about. This is a night like any other. I wonder, how does it feel to bring a lamb to this slaughter the way you did tonight? Do you feel any remorse, regret? I'm going to enjoy guessing.
If there is nothing else, I'll be taking my leave.
Why do you have to be so mean? A smile, a chuckle, genuine? Good night, fledgling. And watch yourself. You messed up my batting average, so I'll be sure to keep a close eye on you. With that final threat, he leaves the gallery. It's right about when Sophie also ends her conversation and walks over to you. Interesting evening, wasn't it? Gregory's waiting downstairs.
She seems preoccupied with something and not in a talkative mood. It's an awkward ride back to the city. This time you arrive at another building, just 2 streets across from your apartment. She brings you upstairs, through a very nice lobby and a luxurious looking hall, into her domain. Please, have a seat. I shall be right with you. You take in your surroundings. The apartment is like a gallery, an old school smoking room that you've seen in some period piece once, and a nouveau riches living room meticulously combined together. Hmm, apologies. Old habits die hard. Clearly, some stick with you even after your death. She drags on her cigarette and breathes out. Breathes. How is she doing that? Can you do it? Why does she have to smoke cigarettes? Ew, that is disgusting. Please don't do that. Oh, yes. You might not know. It takes some practice, but you can keep smoking if you'd like. Other things too. Experiment. You might surprise yourself. But I did not bring you here to show off. This is where I rest these nights. That door in the back, the bedroom, similar to yours. I have servants and bodyguards, in addition, of course, like Gregory. I brought you here because I need you to trust me. When I told you before that I needed your best behavior to uphold my good standing with the court, I meant it. But that is not the whole story. I have your interests in mind too. That's why I've given you your own heaven. Why I'm trying to teach you how to navigate this new reality. But you need to trust me, or else this won't work. Sorry, lady, but I don't really trust you even though you are helping me. You can come here whenever you feel like asking me something. When you're in trouble too, though I hope that won't happen often. I would ask you to come here when you wake up tomorrow. I'll have something to discuss with you. Hmm. Why not talk right now since we are here together? I still need to follow up on a few things before we speak. Patience, fledgling. That silence again. There is definitely something on Sophie's mind tonight, but she doesn't seem eager to share it with you just yet. I'm leaving for another visit. Come downstairs with me. We'll give you a lift. A quick trip, a promise that you'll show up tomorrow, and some polite goodbyes later. You open the door to your heaven and gather your thoughts. It's exciting, in a way, being dragged deeper and deeper into the secret society and its rules. Whatever Sophie has planned for you, it's bound to teach you more about this thing you have become. You sink into your vampiric sleep with just a sliver of hope. It's a welcome change. And some more hot chocolate. It is getting colder and colder. I guess it's not blood temperature anymore. How sad. It's really hard to. My voice is so quiet that I need to speak really close to the mic so that it can be properly picked up. My neck is getting stiff.
from trying to do that. And now we rest. And another day gone, just like that. Uh, Once more, darkness falls upon the city. You wake up, same as you have these past few nights, in a windowless room. As you pry open the reinforced steel door, you look out the window to see, invariably, a sky bereft of sunlight, and then it hits you. The hunger. For a moment, you let yourself wonder if there will ever come a night when it's just not there. Probably not. Given what you've learned thus far, you probably have as much chance of kickstarting your heart with somber cables. Yeah. You lock the door behind you and head over to Sophie's apartment. You did promise to call on her. Might as well not keep the lady waiting. And hey, what else are you gonna do? Call M? She's probably worried. At least, she will be once she actually tries to give you a call, which might not happen for a few more weeks, months, if she's busy doing press for her new piece. You could try to track down your sire, if the sheriff hasn't done that already. After all, he did buy your painting. There has to be a money trail, right? But even if so, what would you say to him? Hmm. These thoughts put you in a weird mood. It's a strange sensation to walk the crowded streets, same as you have so many times before, but feeling so disconnected. All these people, you are not one of them. Not anymore. You're a vampire, kindred, and you need to carve your own path in this strange new existence, one way or another. Appropriately enough, you arrive at Sophie's building just as that thought crosses your mind. A quick word with the security guard, and you're let into the elevator. Apparently, Miss Langley is expecting you. Of course she is. You knock and wait, patiently, as the footsteps on the other side grow closer. Finally, the door opens, and Gregory, Sophie's driver, invites you in. You find the lady herself standing by the window, silhouetted against the city's midnight glow. She stares out, motionless, like a marble statue. Hmm. There she is, just staring out the window even though I came in. Good evening, Sophie. She doesn't react immediately, but she seems to snap out of some meditative state and looks at you with strangely bleary eyes. Huh, as if she's been awake during the day. Yes. Good evening, Solakil. I was wondering, when you look out at this city, when you see the lights, hear the hum, smell the rain on the pavement, what do you think of? You gaze out. You thought the city couldn't surprise you anymore. You've lived here all your life, after all. But tonight, something feels different. You realize, in this moment, that you have truly changed. Yes, you know what Sophie means. The way she gazed out that window and saw the truth beyond, you do the same. The view is fascinating, each detail absorbing, every angle a new experience. The familiar made sublime. When you turn to Sophie again, she smiles at you knowingly. Ah, so you understand. I had my doubts, but perhaps we are of shared lineage after all. Hmm, are we? You see,
The blood that flows within me is that of clan Toreador. There are 13 such bloodlines among us kindred, though that number has been contested in the past, and these nights it seems that nothing is certain anymore. The clans have gone by many epithets over the years, but the names used these nights have their roots in medieval times, in the original Inquisition, if you can believe it. They use this to categorize us, describe our inherent differences. In the meantime, in, no, in time, we adopted them ourselves. Each clan has a uniqueness about it, inescapable, originating from an ancient progenitor carried from sire to child. For the Toreador, the gift lies in sensitivity of sorts. We are uniquely attuned to beauty and ugliness both. We can see either where most cannot, a blessing on most nights, occasionally a curse. The sheriff is of mine clan as well, although you'd be hard pressed to see him as such. Poor Kadir. It breaks my heart to see him in this state. Still, there is a beauty to it as well. Nothing like a good fall from grace. Try as she might to act playful, you can tell she genuinely cares. She lets her gaze wander for a brief moment, but is quick to regain her composure. Then there are the Ventru, known for their pride and proclivity to rule over others. The prince represents that clan, as is quite common in our society around the globe, where the blue bloods think themselves rulers. The Bruja like to see themselves as eminent revolutionaries. They call for universal rebellion while being slaves to their own temper. We don't discuss the rebel much anymore, not after they've largely broken off with the Camarilla. To think they were philosophers once, long ago. I hope to tell you more about some of the other bloodlines tonight. Say, I meet a vampire for the first time. How can I tell what their clan is? Usually you cannot, with a few exceptions perhaps. For some clans, their uniqueness, I mentioned, leads into their appearance or disposition, but even that can be misleading. Outside of a very few specific cases, knowing one's clan is less important than understanding who they are personally, what drives them, their wants and needs, weaknesses too. Speaking of which, we come to the reason I wanted to speak to you tonight. It is customary in our society, especially among younger kindred, to organize into coteries. Sometimes these are called by the prince themselves or mandated by a fledgling sire. In our case, you may treat this more hot chocolate. I still have like half a cup left. In our case, you may treat it as more of a strong recommendation. I want you to seek out companions, not only because you need to learn more about our society,
also because it is useful. What is wrong? My hot chocolate is ending. There's not much left. True friendships are rare among kindred, but having allies, even temporary ones, is something of a necessity these nights. We might be selfish creatures, but we are drawn to each other nonetheless. Any suggestions on where I should start looking? I was just about to get to that. She puts on a mysterious smile. I spent some of my precious time last night asking around, wondering potential kindred for you to meet. Came up with a short list of contacts. I hope you'll appreciate it, Chester. I do. Forging a partnership with them might offer perspectives and viewpoints that I cannot provide. Lenses through which to view our kind. They are all members of the Camarilla, of course, more or less. Hmm. Thanks, I guess. I know this might feel awkward, but trust me, it's the easiest way. You'll find you still have much to learn, and it's best if you have many tutors. Let us start with the Tremere. They are a powerful clan, disliked by many. They are like musicians, but feared and respected by many more. And they have been an important pillar of the Camarilla since the very beginning. They are blood sorcerers. Blood sorcerers? You could swear you once saw them play at the Apollo. Probably not the same blood sorcerers, though. Sophie snickers. Oh, chill there. Don't be caught with that look on your face when you meet a warlock in person. They really are adept at using vitae, their own as well as others, to unique and potent effects. Vitae, the vampire blood. Since they are quite rigid in their hierarchy, the kindred I had in mind for you might need some persuading. His name is Agathon. Agathon. Hmm. From what I hear, he is quite a scholar, very ambitious. A child of a noted premier here in New York. Aisling, Sturbridge. Spend enough time with Agathon and I'm sure you'll run into her sooner or later. Hmm, sounds like a powerful friend, maybe. This whole blood magic thing sounds intriguing. Oh yes, fascinating. It is also a well-kept secret of the Tremere. Don't expect them to share it right away. Some things have to be earned. Anyway, if you wish to contact the young Tremere, I hear you can usually find him in a New Age bookstore out on the Broadway. The Tremere have one of their workshops there. Gregory will give you the details. Oh, Gregory. Now, this next recommendation comes with a bit of a caveat. As you recall me saying, most bloodlines have unique features that might not be obvious at first glance. Well, there is one clan whose members wear their curse on their sleeve. Is it Nosferatu? The Nosferatu. Neat. Wait, Nosferatu, as in the German expressionist classic. No way. No wonder they make their havens in sewers, abandoned buildings and such. Their appearance is hideous and obviously unnatural. Thank you, Doodle. I want them to be cozy. Had they walked the streets like other kindred, Kain would have learned of our existence long ago. Did she just shudder? It's hard to tell with her usual complexion, but you could swear her skin suddenly took on an even more sickly color. I guess she doesn't like the Nosferatu. The one I have in mind isn't as big an eyesore as the worst of them, but he is no Adonis either. Still, he has some talents and connections that you might find useful. What talents and connections? His name is Giangelo, and he has an office, for a lack of better term, in the otherwise abandoned train terminal in Red Hook, right next to one of those Swedish stores. The name escapes me. The one with the awful furniture. Oh, Ikea. You mentioned this D'Angelo has some useful connections. Trying not to. Sorry, something got to my throat. Oh, there are surely other cozy streamers. Okay, now I'm better. I was just getting to that. Angela does odd jobs for Adir, digging up dirt, locating kindred who would prefer to remain hidden. The kind of work in Nosferatu are best at. He's on a case right now. Something to do with Kain murders, I think. After your initial brush with our dear after sorry. After your initial brush with our dear sheriff, I think it would be wise to show some goodwill towards his agenda. Yeah, I think so too. Assisting D'Angelo with his investigation might be just the thing. She takes a brief pause to look out the window again. Now, come to two more exotic proposals. You have two more? Not just those two. Exotic, as if the blood mage and the vampire detective were business as usual. You may have heard about the gangrel before. Well, this vampire fledgling sure hasn't. I of course have heard of them, but they are a wild clan, in touch with the beast in a way others might not dare to attempt. They mostly keep out of big cities, but there are exceptions.
Nominally, they haven't been a part of the Camarilla for over 2 decades, but the one kindred I would like you to meet has strong, shall we say, familial ties to the sect. Her name is Kamika.
It's a girl.
Her sire, Jezebel, was instrumental during the Battle of New York back in 1999, the very same battle that cemented the city as Camarilla domain. Sadly, her achievements have gone largely unrecognized. Kamika and a number of her siblings still reside in the domain they were awarded after the battle, Prospect Park. Jezebel herself left the city some years ago, fed up with being underappreciated. Hmm. Siblings? Actual biological brothers and sisters? Or. No, not in the mortal sense. The gangrels sometimes use the word brute to indicate children begat by the same sire. As you can probably tell, they do take the whole animal motive quite far. I'm not sure how many of them there are, but they are rumored to be a tight-knit group. The gangrel often act on instinct, so when you meet Kamika or her siblings, be careful not to slight them. They are easily provoked and can hold a grudge for a long time. I speak from experience. What did you do? So, you see, seeking out Tamika could prove quite educational if nothing else. And who knows, perhaps you will find her temperament to be a welcome change of pace. But speaking of a change of pace, I have one last suggestion for you, though it's one I don't make lightly. The kindred, who calls herself Hope. She's a Malkavian. They are a uniquely cursed clan. For centuries we considered them mad, insane, unhinged. But those of us who spent enough time with them come to understand the truth. It is no sickness, but a unique perception of the world that has them appear to us as unstable, and that perception can prove to be very valuable. Having a Malkavian as your companion might be taxing on the nerves and a true test of patience at times, but their insight and intuition are unrivaled among the kindred. As for Hope specifically, she is said to be a recluse, but I have it on good authority that she can currently be found in an internet cafe. I believe it's called in Lower Manhattan. Gregory has the address. Do internet cafes actually exist? Like, I don't think I have ever seen an actual internet cafe, but but I have like in a lot of media I have heard about them. Maybe they just haven't come to my country. An internet cafe? Really? How quaint. I really wouldn't know. But since you brought it up, be aware the Camarilla is highly critical of using the internet to communicate. The Second Inquisition made sure of that. It's a caution when at her haven. Well, I believe that's all of them. I still have a few social calls to make tonight, so I'll leave it to you. Leave you to it. Use tonight and tomorrow night to arrange some cordial visits of your own. I will send Gregory for you as soon as I have further need of your services. Oh, that reminds me. You will need a car. Join us downstairs, won't you? I'll get a car. She smiles once more and turns to her driver. She helps her He helps her put on her coat, and the three of you leave Sophie's apartment. Sophie points to one of the cars near the building as Gregory hands you the keys. It's a rather inconspicuous compact car, a decent looking, if not luxurious, ride. Stay safe, Solakium. This is your first night alone. Don't let it be your last. What am I gonna do? As they drive away, you find yourself with more freedom than you've had for the past few nights. A blessing or a burden? Time will tell. With a list of addresses in hand, you consider your next move. Uh, Damn. How do I read those when there is text on there? Maybe I should next time put the. No, I don't know how to set it up. So this is the magic man. This is the crazy lady. This is the ugly person, and this must be the wild one. I'm a sucker for magic. Let's go see the magic one. Sophie's mention of a vampire clan of blood sorcerers sparked your attention. One of them, Agatha, could potentially be your introduction into the bizarre powers of the Tremere. Sounds interesting to me. You arrive at the address given to you by Sophie, a small bookstore smack dab in the middle of Broadway, of all places. What really catches you off guard, though, is the store's display. From what you've heard about the Tremere, they are infamous for their ties to the occult and the mystical. And yet now, looking at the oddball collection of items in the display window, it all feels borderline satirical. The books here cover everything from Ayurvedic practices and homeopathy to wellness and self-motivation. The vaguely amusing juxtapositions don't end here either. You notice a Kobe. I'm feeling this tiredness settling in and it's getting more difficult to read. You notice a copy of Anton LaVey's satanic Bible tucked behind a cheap smiling Buddha. A scientific journal on hematology sits next to a teen-oriented pamphlet on the blood type personality theory. A number of religious and quasi-religious symbols, lockets, pins, and various emblazoned paraphernalia are haphazardly strewn across the display and between tomes. Before you even open the door, you can smell the burning incense and hear the corny Far East themed music seeping through the crackling speaker mounted above the entrance. It's much more quaint than what you'd expected from what Sophie told you about the so-called warlocks. It doesn't look like they have much interest in impressing outsiders. Then again, if there is anything you've learned these past few nights, it's that appearances can be deceiving. At this time of night, the shop appears to be closed. Regardless, you ring the bell. You hear someone shuffling around inside. A brief moment later, the latch slides.
and the door is pushed open just a few inches. A tired-looking blonde in loose clothes appears in the crack. She seems confused, like you just woke her up. She lets out a yawn, scratching at her tattooed neck. Finally, she squints in your general direction. Her pierced lip curves into an awkward smile. Uh, I'm looking for a guy named Agathon. Is he around? The girl gives you a suspicious look over, but opens the door. She takes a few steps back, and you hear footsteps coming from behind a floral curtain that covers the back door. A bespectacled, smart-looking woman emerges and looks straight at you. What if this is the... What was her name? Agathon's uh, sire?
Come in and follow me. Just don't touch anything, please.
You follow her through the store. Inside, as expected, the stuffy air smells of sandalwood, frankincense, and dozen other aromas. The woman leads you behind the curtain and through the back door into a rickety staircase. A flight of steps takes you up to the second story. You instantly notice the change in decor as the tacky New Age bookstore gives way to something resembling a cross between a library and a workshop. The smell here is strong, too, but much more layered. You're not sure what to make of it at first, but with each whiff it becomes apparent. Blood. The aroma, though subtle at first, soon becomes overpowering. It takes you a moment to adapt and focus.
I don't think you know who you are speaking with, so an introduction is in order. My name is Aisling Sturbridge, and I am the High Regent of the Chantry of the Five Boroughs.
So I met the big boss before I met Agathon.
You are Solakium, correct? I have to say, you're lucky the ward outside the building is only there for notifications tonight. Otherwise, it would have been quite unpleasant. To answer your question, Agathon is here, but he's hard at work and I wouldn't want to disturb him. Am I to understand this is a social visit?
High Regent of the Chantry of the Five Borough? That's quite a mouthful.
It might sound fancy, but that's because there's a well-established tradition behind it. One you'd be wise not to ridicule. Some might take offense. Me, for one. What is it that you're here for?
I heard some good things about Agathon. Thought I'd drop in and see how much of that was true.
Appealing to our vanity. How very original. You'd better step up your game, fledgling, or New York will eat you right up.
I just wanted to meet Agathon. Suddenly, a man enters from a side room. He doesn't even look at you, lost in his own thoughts. I have it, Aisling. I think I know how to find it. He catches himself as he notices you. His face turns sour. A visitor?
Yes, we were just discussing you, in fact.
Is that so? Let me introduce myself. My name is Solakium. I've been told you might be interested in teaming up. Teaming up? He seems very confused by the notion. What for? I could assist him, but he probably wouldn't believe that. Well, I could use your knowledge. I'm new here, and a scholar like yourself could teach me a lot, I imagine. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. He turns to Iceland. High Regent, may I ask your advice on this? Aisling looks at you with nary a sign of emotion. I believe that you have far more pressing matters to attend to at the moment, my children. That is my intuition as well, High Regent. It's settled then. I would kindly ask that you leave, fledgling. We have many matters to discuss, matters not meant for undiscerning ears. Both of the warlocks look at you expectantly. No, I wanted my wizard. Wait, please, I didn't mean any disrespect. I'm sorry if we started off on the wrong foot. You only get one shot at first impression, and you missed yours by a mile. So, if you can think of anything clever to say, now would be a good time. Otherwise, you know where the door is. I came here willing to offer help should you need it. That offer still stands. Your thoughts, Agathon? I believe I can handle the task alone, High Regent. I have full confidence in you, my child, as always. However, I know this fledgling is utterly hopeless at making a good first impression, but I think you should give him a chance to prove their worth. Just one chance. Tonight. Why don't you start by giving our intern here a brief explanation of what it is you're after? Agathon gives Aisling a hesitant look, but the woman nods approvingly. Encouraged, he turns towards you. A member of our clan disappeared without a trace a handful of nights ago. While the High Regent investigates if any foul play was involved, I have been tasked with recovering her research notes. If there is anything left to recover, that is. I may have an idea where to start looking, and I suppose this is where you come in. If you truly wish to help, I could use your assistance tonight. Right now, in fact. Given the time we've just wasted on idle chatter, I should leave immediately. That research sounds pretty important. What is it about? A single glance at Aisling is enough. You can tell you are not getting an answer. At least for now. Okay. It's important to us, and that's all you need to know. That's fine. These people aren't in the habit of making things simple. Facing layers upon layers of secrecy, you can only hope that what lies beneath is the real deal. I'm heading out. Are you coming or not? I'm coming. Sure, I'll join you. Very well. He gives Aisling a slight bow. High Regent, with your permission. She nods. Before you go, however, Solakium, defer to Agathon in all things. Our clan values obedience above everything else. Prove you can follow, and this might turn into a mutually beneficial relationship. I see. I will await his return and his report. Good luck, my children. Agathon bows again and heads out, urging you to follow. The High Regent watches you leave. Outside, Agathon leads you to his car. It's almost funny seeing him get behind a wheel. Somehow you'd expect a more mystical means of transportation, like like broomsticks. You drive south, heading to the lower east side. Agathon seems lost in thought. Either that or he's a very careful driver. Either way, several minutes pass in silence. Maybe I'll just stay quiet. You decide not to disturb his thoughts and are surprised that it's him who breaks the silence as you're about halfway over the East River.
Let me ask you something. Why me? There's likely a couple of hundred of us kindred in New York, yet you seek me out specifically. Why?
I've been told a few younger vampires I should meet. You sounded like an interesting guy. Interesting.
I see.
Once more he grows silent. You're unsure whether to continue crying as your driver seems to disappear into his thoughts. You drive into Williamsburg and stop by a fancy looking building.
We are here. There's a restaurant on the top floor. You wanted to help, so here's your chance. I need you to get us inside the VIP lobby.
Me? Get us inside? What?
Once we're in, I need about half an hour to focus and some space. It'll be up to you to keep attention away from the room. Can you do it?
He doesn't wait for an answer and points to the front door.
Go ahead, I'm right behind you.
The two of you take the elevator up the restaurant. The door opens, and you see that there are only a few guests left, sitting at their tables. An important-looking staff member approaches you.
Good evening. I'm very sorry, but the restaurant is closing for the night. I can make a reservation for next week if you wish.
No, I think we can get in now. We are special clients, if you know what I mean.
I don't think I do. Apologies. But it's company policy. No exceptions. Would you like to make a reservation?
Hey, it's all good. We can come in. We'll be in the VIP lobby. It won't take long. The man blinks. A confused smile appears on his face.
Yes, of course, not a problem. Please, come right in.
You walk in, trying to look casual, and make your way towards the VIP lobby. You step inside and close the door behind you. It's a nice place, very highbrow. Lots of old, expensive-looking furniture and private rooms to discuss any sordid businesses one discusses when you're that rich. Your companion looks at you with something akin to admiration, or at least that's how you choose to interpret the slight change in his usual somber facade.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
He inspects the room. It's unusually cold, and Agathon soon discovers why. Looking behind the curtain, a window hangs open. The handle and lock look like they've been dissolved, as if with acid.
Good damn it, Juno.
Whoever Juno is, it looks like she's no longer here. A flash of fury sparks in his eyes.
Yeah, no kidding.
He takes a frantic look around the room. This changes things.
Keep an eye on the door. I'll need some time. Half an hour at the very least. Nobody disturbs me. Understand?
Yep. He hastily pushes a couch and some potted plants out of the way, moves a bar stool, and takes out a curved knife, cutting into his own arm. he let some of his blood drip on the wooden floor. It's pretty fucked up the way his flesh oozes the deep red, thick V there. In life, you'd have found it stomach. I can't speak anymore. I should stop, finish this stream soon. You'd have found it stomach churning, but right now you feel weirdly turned on by the sight. What follows is more disturbing. Ooh, such blood. I mean, Peter. With one hand, he sheathes the knife and seals the wound. With the other, he smears the blood around him, while muttering some weird chant. It sounds vaguely Latin, but you're pretty sure it isn't. It's all more than a little disconcerting, but he seems to know what he's doing. A few moments later, the circle starts glowing faintly as thin wisps of smoke surround Agatha. He sits down in the middle, legs crossed, eyes closed. Minutes pass. Agatha's face twitches from time to time, and his head, not heads, just one head turns every now and then, as if he was looking around or listening in on a conversation. The smoke grows thicker, forming a veil around the mage. You expected something more flashy, but it's still a sight to behold. You wonder what the point of it is, but refrain from asking. It's probably best to let Agathon do his thing. For close to 30 minutes, you're left to your own devices. Then suddenly, the door opens slightly, and the manager leans into the room. Uh-oh, I gotta stop him. You tense up for a second, but he just gives you an awkward smile. Anything you need. You shoo him away before he can take a closer look at your companion, and he retreats obediently. 2 minutes later, Agathon casually gets up off the floor and walks over to the sofa. He pushes his hand in between the cracks in the upholstery and fishes something out. He then turns to you and nods. We are done here. Let's go. You make your way back to the elevator, passing the manager on your way. He gives you a slight, somewhat confused smile, but neither him nor any of his staff get in your way. Despite that, the elevator ride down feels tense, and the two of you only relax once inside Agathon's car. He starts the engine and takes a right at the Continental Army Plaza, back onto the bridge. You're just about to say something, but he beats you to it. That went better than expected, all things considered. It might have been a trick of the light, but you're pretty sure you just saw a smile. Victory! I'm used to working alone, but what I'm dealing with right now, it might require some more assistance, and you seem capable enough. Gee, thanks. I take it that's your way of showering me with praise. Oh, I didn't want to say it like that. You could swear you just made him smirk. You did fine. Once you really impress me, I'll be sure to let you know. It doesn't take you long to reach the warlock's hideout. Agathon waves at you absent-mindedly, once again lost in his thoughts, hopelessly so. One of these nights, you should probably take him up on his offer. Who knows, if you gain his trust, maybe you can actually break through his stoic facade and meet the man underneath. Oh, I see. Okay. I guess this is good place to stop for tonight. Ah. That was nice. Really nice. So we lived through a couple more nights, and of nights and we got to meet that nice warlock person. Yep, it was good. I'm going to probably stream tomorrow as well. Probably some digital painting. If I don't stream tomorrow, I will stream on Sunday. But yeah, I guess that's it for the night. So, thank you for watching and hopefully see you in the next one. Bye bye. Bye bye, the doodle.